A solo hiker sets out on a quiet trail in the Grand Canyon, looking for peace. But what she finds feels older than the canyon itself. A whisper in a language she doesn't know. A twisted tree watching in silence. This is Odd National Park. If you enjoy the show and want to help keep the strange stories coming, visit the support page at oddnationalpark.com. Thank you for helping us explore the weird side of the wild. The Grand Canyon is more than a landmark. It's a monument to time itself. A mile-deep scar in the earth, carved over millions of years by the relentless flow of the Colorado River. From the rim, the view stretches endlessly, as if the ground has fallen away into something ancient, something unknowable. For most people, the canyon is a place of wonder, but for some, it's something else entirely. Indigenous peoples have lived around this place for thousands of years. The Havasupai, the Hopi, the Wallapai, the Zuni. For many of them, the Grand Canyon isn't just sacred, it's a threshold. A border between this world and the next. A place where the physical and the spiritual reside close to each other. According to Hopi tradition, the canyon is connected to the underworld, a place where spirits reside and ancestors travel. Some say it's one of the entrances to the Sipapuni, the emergence point from which people came into this world. And then there are the stories passed quietly from ranger to ranger, hiker to hiker. The ones not written on signs or in the park brochures. Hikers who vanish without a trace. Voices carried on the wind with no speaker in sight. Glimpses of someone or something standing still just beyond the ridge. Rangers have spoken of hikers who returned changed, dazed, confused, unsure of how much time has passed or how far they've traveled, and always that same look in their eyes. The Grand Canyon demands your attention, but sometimes, if you're quiet enough, it gives you its attention in return. Tonight's story comes from Megan, a solo hiker who wasn't looking for anything strange, but found something that felt older than stone. This happened last fall. I was in a bit of a transitional phase, burnt out, overthinking everything, and I decided to take a solo trip to the Grand Canyon. I've hiked a fair amount, but I wasn't looking for anything epic, just quiet and space to breathe, you know? A friend of mine, who's kind of into off-the-grid stuff, recommended a lesser-known trail on the eastern side. She didn't say much about it, just that it was beautiful, quiet, and usually empty. It sounded perfect. I started early, sunlight just starting to hit the walls of the canyon. At first, it was incredible. The silence out there is like nothing else. Not dead silence, but that soft kind of quiet that makes every sound feel like it matters. After a few miles into my hike, I started noticing how still everything was. The air had that dry, sun-baked scent, but there was no wind, no birdsong, just me and the crunch of my boots, and even that started to feel loud. Then came that weird little feeling, the one your brain tries to explain away. Like I wasn't alone, not in a paranoid way, not like I was being followed, more like the trail was aware of me, like it had noticed I was there. I chalked it up to being alone in a big place. That kind of vastness messes with your senses. Still, it lingered. Not fear, just a kind of pressure I couldn't name. And it stayed with me the farther I went. I hiked for maybe another 20 minutes and found this stunning overlook, one of those spots where the canyon just opens up like a giant, quiet cathedral. I figured it was a good place to take a break, so I sat down, had a snack, and tried to just enjoy it for what it was. That's when I noticed the tree. Off to the right of the overlook, maybe 20 feet away, was this old Utah juniper, more of a twisted husk than a full tree. It was dried out, silver gray from the sun, but still standing like it had something to say. One of the upper branches curled into this perfect spiral. It wasn't a full circle, but close, like it had been slowly twisting towards something over time. I don't know why, but it gave me this really strong feeling, like it had been there longer than memory, and maybe it remembered me somehow. I was staring at it when I heard the voice, just over my shoulder, calm, quiet, close. It wasn't English. It sounded like a whisper in another language, but with a rhythm that felt ceremonial, almost like a blessing. I turned around slowly. Nothing. Just the canyon breathing around me. But here's the strange thing. I didn't feel alone anymore, and that wasn't a bad thing. The silence after the whisper felt intentional, like whatever had spoken had finished saying what it needed to say. I looked back at the spiral branch and suddenly felt like I was intruding on something ancient and private. Not unwelcome, but definitely not the center of the story. I packed up my stuff and kept moving, a little quieter than before. The rest of the trail felt like walking through a place that was alive in a way I hadn't noticed until then. So the rest of the hike back was uneventful on the surface, but something about me felt different, like the canyon had shifted something in me. I didn't hear the voice again, and nothing else out of the ordinary happened, but that feeling that I'd witnessed something stuck with me the entire way out. It wasn't fear. It was more like I'd stepped into a story that wasn't mine, and for just a moment, it had me peek inside. I didn't tell anybody about it when I got back. It felt too personal, too strange. And honestly, I didn't think anyone would believe me if I said a dead juniper tree and a whisper in a language I couldn't place had me left feeling seen. But the weirdest part? That night, back at the hotel, I went to upload some photos from my phone and realized there was one I didn't remember taking. It was of the tree. That twisted spiral branch centered perfectly, like I'd framed it on purpose. Maybe I did take it and just forgot, or maybe not. I've still got it saved. Every now and then I pull it up and just look at it. I don't know what that moment meant, but it meant something. Anyway, thanks for creating a space where stories like this can be shared. I still don't know what to call what happened, but I know it wasn't nothing. There are stories we tell, and then there are stories we carry. Megan didn't ask for an encounter. She didn't go looking for ghosts or spirits or anything supernatural. She just went for a hike, and the canyon decided to speak. Whether that voice came from the land, her own subconscious, or something older than either, we can't say. But moments like that have a way of staying with you, quietly, gently. And sometimes they find their way into stories like this one. If you've experienced something unusual, something strange or symbolic, or just plain hard to explain, we'd love to hear it. You can submit your story at oddnationalpark.com. And if you want to help us keep telling these stories, you can visit the support page on the site. Every little bit helps keep the trail open. Thanks for listening. I'm James, and this has been Odd National Park.